So as you guys are probably aware of by now, I grew up a Sega kid. Yes, the NES was my first home console, but after that I primarily went with Sega stuff because, I don't know, I just always seemed to gravitate towards Sega. I loved the Genesis and it was just such a cool system. So the Genesis played a big part in my childhood growing up. And one of the things about growing up is you tend to forget things, you know, you don't remember everything from your childhood like you like to think you did. And I always thought I was good at remembering video game related stuff. You know, I remember getting certain systems during different Christmases and birthdays and whatnot, and playing certain games for the first time and, you know, playing arcade games for the first time. But evidently, sometimes in life, you just completely forget about situations and you completely forget about things that were actually pretty cool and actually pretty important. And so Sega was huge in the 90s. Anyone who says that they weren't huge in the early to mid 90s is just lying to themselves. I kind of, you know, equate it to a situation with, you know, how WCW and WWF were. There was a time when WCW was the #1 wrestling brand and WWF was thought to be, you know, on the way out. And a lot of people felt that way sort of with Sega and Nintendo at one point in time. And it really could have gone either way. Sega could have become the dominant brand, and who knows what would have ended up happening with Nintendo. Well, my buddies over at iretrogamer recently uploaded a video showcasing some really super rare footage that probably nobody, you know, has besides them in this sort of quality. You know, nowadays everyone has cell phones, iPhones, Androids, all that shit. They can just take a video of something and show that video, you know, at any point in time via their camera on the phone. But back in the day, if you didn't have, you know, one of those big gaudy VHS handycam things, you weren't getting footage of anything. And so I was watching this video and I realized something really special as I was watching this video. I had actually been there. So today we're gonna talk about this footage that has recently been discovered. It is ultra rare, and how this footage made me realize that I was there, and I'm gonna share my memories on the situation. So let's talk about when Sega was on top of the world and featured at Disney World. So like I said, iretrogamer put together this awesome video of some footage that he managed to find from when him and his family went to Epcot and Disney World. And one of the things that they actually went to, one of the intents of going there, was for going to Epcot Center because they had this thing called Innoventions, and they had a huge Sega thing. And so I was watching the video and, you know, it was an awesome video. And as I'm watching the video, something felt very familiar about it. And it was really weird. It was almost like a sensation of deja vu, you know, like, I thought, you know, why does this feel so familiar? This looks so familiar. You know, maybe I saw it in magazines or something when I was growing up, no big deal. But at one point in time in the video, he shows this Virtua Fighter arcade setup. And right then and there, all of these memories came flooding back to me. I was actually there too. So I watched the rest of the video. It's a fantastic video. If you're not familiar with iretrogamer, make sure you go check them out. Watch the video, subscribe to their channel. I have a link in the description box down below. But I realized I was there. I remember some of this stuff now. So I'm just gonna have, you know, he was kind enough to send me the footage. The whole video is up on his channel. I'm just gonna play snippets of it, but I'm basically just gonna tell you guys what I remember from that thing. And I actually called my mom to make sure, you know, I wasn't, you know, thinking so. I was like, Ma, did we go to, you know, Disney World in '94? And she was like, yeah, we did. I was like, yo, this is crazy. So, okay, after watching his video, I remember going to Innoventions. I remember the way the building looked on the outside. I looked up a picture of it, and when I saw that picture, everything pretty much clicked. Everything came together. I remember going there, and I was super excited when they had Sega stuff because that's what I was into at the time. And I remember walking in and seeing this huge Sonic and this huge Tails just sort of hanging up there. And it was just so amazing to me because, you know, video games were sort of this smaller thing. It wasn't, I don't think video games were as big as they are today. I mean, you know, consoles sell much more than they did back in the day. You know, everyone plays video games, but back then it was definitely more sort of a niche thing. You know, there wasn't as many gamers out there in the world. And I remember seeing that huge Sonic and Tails and just thinking, wow, you know, this is amazing. This is amazing seeing, you know, how prominently this is being featured. And I don't recall playing many games on the consoles they had set up. I know they had a lot of, I remember seeing consoles set up, but I don't really remember playing too much. I think I did, I want to say I played some Sonic just because it was Sonic and I loved Sonic, but I don't remember like playing any specific games like the Game Gear or whatever. But what was really cool in their footage is they showed a prototype of Darkseid for the 32X, which actually never came out in the States. It was the last game released on the 32X in PAL regions, but I remember seeing 32Xs set up there, and I think that's why I ended up getting a 32X sort of later on in the year, because we went in the summer and 32X prices ended up dropping like drastically. So I ended up picking a 32X up, but I remember seeing those there and how, you know, that was my first exposure to it. And I just thought it was so cool, you know, this attachment for your Sega Genesis to play a new library of games and have games like Virtua Fighter. And like I said, he showed this Virtua Fighter arcade unit, and that was when I realized, you know, I was there. I had been there. And I remember playing that Virtua Fighter arcade unit. I played against a couple people. I probably didn't win. I am a decent Virtua Fighter player, but at the time, you know, I was like 9, maybe 10, so I probably wasn't as good as I thought I was in my head at that game. But that is the clearest thing from that whole thing. When he showed that Virtua Fighter arcade unit, that was definitely the clearest thing from that event. And I just remember they had like, you know, they had some swag that you could get, you know, they had like a little shop in there too, and it was just so amazing. It was one of the highlights of going to Disney World at that time. And honestly, I don't remember much about that Disney trip at all, but now that I've seen that, like, I'm starting to remember, you know, certain things from it, you know, certain rides I went on and certain, you know, events, like where we stayed. You know, I remember we stayed at one of those Mickey Mouse hotel things. It was sort of like a weird sort of cabin thing, and that's where we stayed during the event. So awesome. It was awesome to see that. It was awesome to bring back those memories. And, you know, I've probably not shown myself a lot in this video. I'm showing that footage because I want you guys to see that footage. That footage is amazing, and he, you know, redid it so that it's digital and it looks just so good for, you know, footage from '94. So like I said, I'd like to thank iretrogamer for not only, you know, sending me the raw footage, but for making that video, because without that video, I don't think I ever would have remembered that. I don't think I would have ever remembered that experience. And to remember that experience and think about that experience, you know, 20 plus years later, it's crazy. You know, it's awesome. It's really something cool and really something special. So make sure you go check out iretrogamer's channel. Check out that whole video he's got up over there. It's something really special. And thank you guys for watching this video. You know I'm a Sega fan. You know I love to remember old Sega stuff. So this was something really cool and something I wanted to show you guys. So remember to hit that like button. If you ever went to Sega at Epcot Center when they had that set up, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear, you know, your experiences with it, because it's something special. You know, they were there. They were huge. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new here, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.